And that's for the piggies in every U.S. city thinking a seat in the back row is Porsche because of European history. They miss seeing the monocle though, so I be in the front row on days I am making dough. All alone, in the zone, on the phone, until the trailers go off the screen, along with all those production companies that never did a thing for me.
This early summer blockbuster season has been chock full of films, bait and switching a sci-fi banner to instead being filled with dramas that are focused on coming-of-age tales and the evolution of the Western idea of family structure in a post-apocalyptic landscape. The other week, box offices got the White Walker version with 28 Days Later. With R.T. Thorne's over 40 Acres, instead audiences get a more broader experience, though it is primarily focused through an FBA lens. The premise of the film is focused on a blended Afro-Native family and their protection of their assets in a post-apocalyptic nightmarescape against a group of cannibals. The film focuses on the ideas of traditionalism and the necessitation of such practices, as well as the need to update them as times change for adaptability and survival. I really like the display of attractive young black women on the big screen, the type I would see on Pinterest, instead of the debauchery somewhere Mark Zuckerberg funded. Jada LeBlanc is an extreme eye-catcher in a role, while Mecana Diaz-Rojas follows up behind her, though Rojas' presence in the film presents a stark piece of social commentary, especially during the uproar of the current ICE raids and the revelation to many born outside of places like my state of origin, California, that Latinos have tended to ride the coattails of FBAs when we have something of value and will co-op the position of camaraderie until they've had their fill, and then all we as FBAs get left with from the co-op experience is an op. The film's called 40 Acres. Last I checked, FBAs were the only ethnic group promised that in North America, so I can't front and say that I didn't feel uncomfortable when there were nearly every ethnic group but Asians included in this film. I have a Cherokee grandfather, but his ethnic group owes reparations to FBAs as much as my other grandfather's ethnic group does too, since the Jewish participated in chattel slavery as well. So Deadweiler's main character choosing a native to be the stepfather for her children, my first question is, does he identify as black first or native? Because I had a foster father who was native but black first, just like I am. Hell, just like my mother is. If interviewed on a press run for this film, John Greyeyes or Lena Robinson say differently, then I have a problem with Thorne including them within the film since we didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Aside from the POC casting decisions, I like the focus on ITAL plant-based eating. Within Thorne's script, the world plunges into cannibalism after animals no longer become a viable food source. And as a person who's practiced veganism for nearly a decade, I co-signed this major tenet featured within 40 Acres. Kateem O'Connor deserves a standing ovation for his role as the young male black heir to the Freeman farm. The juxtaposition of having to wait on his shoulders to protect his family while juggling the fact that his mother still wants to treat him as a child is a common theme found in Western society that demands black females to be both masculine and feminine, and demands black males to be both breadwinner and boy. Deadweiler and O'Connor's interactions were some of the biggest highlights in the film, as well as O'Connor's scenes with Rojas, that both depicted very well the danger black males face when dealing with either their mothers or a woman who they have the potential to make a mother. Despite all the hatred for those born with a black phallus in Western society, I am glad that Thorne made sure that O'Connor's character was not sexually compromised, despite the overbearing attitude of his character's mother, or Rojas' snarky portrayal of the typical Western female who was raised to think the best way to attract a black man is with vinegar. I like Thorne's use of slow motion, the plot device of Sony Walkman, pirate radio, and the inclusion of some native tongues on the film's soundtrack, though Thorne could have passed on that Burna Boy. Still, my biggest gripe of 40 Acres is that I think Kim Coleman and Stephanie Gorin could have done a better job on casting with this picture. I don't think it needed to be so inclusive. There are plenty of black people in North America who refuse to eat ITAL and love stuffing their faces with all sorts of flesh and animal products on the regular. There is no need to have the majority of the cannibals be Caucasoid, or have an inclusion of any Caucasians in the film at all. But they fill up more than half of the cast, thanks to all the extras and non-speaking roles. This perhaps is because of the noticeable co-writing credit Laura Campbell earned, which also may have been because she possibly is one of the film's biggest benefactors. straight modern-day co-intel pro. Elizabeth Saunders, further pushing the whole feminist, masculine, lesbian dynamic with Deadweiler was an unnecessary inclusion in the film as well. It's not hard to find a black dyke in Western society to play opposite of Deadweiler. I'm pretty sure Janelle Monáe or Doechii would like to expand their acting resumes. I expected an all-black cast, similar to Deadweiler's other starring role earlier this year in The Woman in the Yard. But in reality, the only big similarity between those two films is that Hollywood keeps trying to push the only place FBAs can have anything is if they're either from or somewhere near Atlanta, Georgia. And as a black man who has been to damn near all the chocolate cities in the States, with Atlanta being chiefly the most arrogant of them all in comparison to more humbler cities like Memphis or more economically sound cities like Detroit, I get sick of this misconception being pushed by the mainstream. Maybe Thorne needs to spend more time south of that Canadian border to get a taste of a real chocolate city, not that soon-to-be gentrified playground for the black, boule, and bougie known as the A. Now, when I saw this picture, it was debuted in one theater in a metro area with multiple megaplexes all the way in the back. Thorne's picture will not make a dent in the box office, even if I did purchase tickets for all 4 of its showings on its first day out. But since lack of promotion for a film with an integral black crew like this is to be expected, I have no idea why Thorne didn't go all out. In an era where delineation is king amongst FBAs in the States, Thorne's POC inclusive picture, titled after a broken promise made exclusively to FBAs by the US government, shows that it doesn't look like the African diaspora over in Canada has gotten the full memo. Maybe they need to adjust their pirate radio in this post-apocalyptic world.
Pop your popcorn. That's for the piggies in every US city thinking a seat in the back row is Porsche because of European history. They miss seeing the monocle though, so I be in the front row on days I am making dough. All alone, in the zone, on the phone, until the trailers go off the screen, along with all those production companies that never did a thing for me.